Warning, this video is just me talking about things that inspire me and playing with wild abandon. I'm just going to play with some ink and watercolors and have fun. So I hope you'll stick around and check it out. So this is a flyer from an arts festival that I went with my children to back in October, and I just decided to share it here on my channel. There was yarn bombing everywhere. Look at those granny squares. I absolutely loved it. They had all the trees wrapped. They had like this church's picket fence wrapped with crochet. There was yarn and crochet just everywhere. It was so inspirational. It was so beautiful. I loved it so much. I'll be painting this picture later in the video. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the things that inspire me. I was just on Craft Roulette. I'll leave it linked down below. There were so many good Patreon questions, and one of them was about my inspiration, and I just kind of find it everywhere. Now, obviously, this is super inspirational. Those are my two kiddos. They went with me that day. We took art supplies with us, and we painted at this arts festival. We sat and painted that tree that I photographed them under, and this is our 3 sketches. 3 totally different takes on the same tree. Here's mine close up. Enzi's is like the inside of the tree, and Carmen's was very loose. It was just so much fun. Okay, so I came home and I wanted to play some more. So I got my Sumi ink out. I think I always talk about linking this down below, and I never do. I will try to remember it this time. It's about $5, and I adore it. So I went through this phase where I liked to give myself a border of Sumi ink and then just paint and play. So I was playing at that time with trees. Really, back in October, I was thinking of starting another channel, an art channel, and I was painting a whole lot more. Y'all weren't really seeing that. Y'all were seeing cards, basically cards, and then you weren't really seeing much at all, honestly, October, November, because I had to take a break. So I was really just doing this on my own time, and I did turn on the camera and I did record it, and now it's March and I'm deciding to share it. But at this time, I was just painting for release. It was something I could do. Like, this was a 20-minute session. It really wasn't that long. And once I had found a tree I liked, I liked the way I was creating sky. I liked the way I was creating the clouds and the trees. I just kept doing little twists on it and having fun with it. So what I do is I have this sulfate drawing paper from Blick, super inexpensive, fantastic paper. And I do like the heavier weight ones, like the 80-pound and up. I don't care for like the 55-pound paper at all, just to be completely honest. And now what I'm doing is I'm playing with the pictures that I had taken. So, when you're out and you see a beautiful sunset, when you're out, don't think, oh, yeah, I'll remember that. Go ahead and take a picture so that maybe the next time you're making a card or next time you're doing something and you want to remember a beautiful sky, like for ink blending or something, you could go back to your pictures and use that. And these I'm drawing like direct inspiration, but inspiration doesn't always have to be that way. When you go to, going to an arts festival, I didn't have to come home and paint the things I saw. I could just be inspired to come home and create. Or if you go to a movie, I went with my family, and on the first day of the new year, we saw The Fabelmans, and just seeing that movie and seeing Spielberg kind of tell his story from childhood and up, and where it was just so inspirational. I didn't want to come home and make movies. I wanted to come home and make cards. I wanted to come home and get in my craft room and do I'm not on the level of Spielberg. I would never propose that I am, but I wanted to come home and do my craft. And so I want to inspire you guys to kind of do the same. look around you. What inspires you? We talked about that in the episode again from Craft Roulette this past Friday. I had an absolute blast. And one of the patron questions was like, when you walk away from your craft room, how do you consider that session successful? And I said joy right off the bat. If I walk away and I feel joy in my heart for the time that I spent in my craft room, regardless of what I was making, regardless of how it came out, because it's not always a success. And I think my card that night was proof of that. It was not a success. When I walked away, I wasn't thrilled with my card, but I was thrilled with my time that I spent with Mary. I was thrilled with the time that I spent with everyone there in the chatterbox, sharing, engaging with one another, being in that space. Because being a guest on Craft Roulette and watching Craft Roulette is two different experiences, and both are thrilling and both bring me joy. And, I walked away on Friday night and I was like, okay, my card is okay. It's not great. I would have changed a lot of things. But the time that I had there, the time I had in that creative space with Mary, with Stephen, with everyone in the chatterbox, that filled my heart with so much joy that I actually ended up having a little bit of an anxiety attack later in the evening. I need to process more or something. Like, sometimes it's really weird. We'll go on a family vacation. I'll be crazy happy, and then I'll have an anxiety attack when I'm really happy. I don't know what it is. I'm still figuring that out. But I was so happy that it gave me a little bit of an anxiety attack, which in my life is actually a good thing, because that just shows like the threshold of happiness was like way out there. Anyways, so even though my card wasn't a total success, that session was a success. So I wanted to put that in your ear, give you those examples, give you that kind of look into my process and into how I look at being creative. It's not always about the end result. It's about the process. It's about being in a space where I can be free. And that's why I decided to share this video with y'all, because this wasn't something I was necessarily planning on sharing. Obviously, it's from October. But then I thought about it, and I thought, I want to share my freedom. I think y'all see that in my style a lot, because I just a little unhinged in the card making world, probably. Like, I don't think Mary was expecting me to be stamping on fabric that night. I didn't even expect it. It was just on my desk and I went for it. I had been experimenting with it. I had been experimenting with those stamps, and I just decided to go for it. There is just no harm in playing. My little tagline with my logo is Bitty Penny Plays with Paper, and I truly do, and I encourage you to do the same. A lot of times I see your comments and you're like, you really inspire me to explore new horizons or break out of my comfort zone, and that just, well, it just pleases me so much. I'm so glad that I do that my videos do that for you, because I love it when people do that for me too. When someone just kind of blows the door off and opens up a whole new horizon for me and my creative thinking. So I don't know that I'm doing that for you, but I just encourage you to play. So here, that's what I'm doing. I'm just playing with this landscape. If I had an art channel, which I actually started one, I didn't put any videos on it, but I just set up a space for it. You would see a lot of folk art. I love folk art. It just tugs at my heartstrings so much. I also love Impressionism and Cubism, and really have an appreciation for almost all of it, abstract art. But definitely you would see a lot of folk art, I think, if I had an art channel. And maybe one day I will. And I definitely need to get back to painting because I, when I started making videos again for you guys, um, around just after Christmas, it was really around the new year, then we just did a deep dive for the last 3 months into card making, but a lot of junk journaling, which is awesome too. And that's how my brain works. And I would encourage you that if you're feeling stuck, if you're maybe not finding the joy that you once did, try a new medium or try a new project. If you're kind of feeling stuck and you only make A2 cards, make a 5x7, make an A9. An A9 is an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper scored at 5.5 on the 11-inch side, and that's it. It's a big card and it's a lot of fun. You know, go find a new approach. If you're always making a one layer card, stamping out scenes, try a pattern paper with a sketch. Just change things up for yourself. I'm sure the joy is still there for you. But just making those little tweaks, and you don't have to adopt that style forever. Just make a card, just change it up and see your thought process during that time. And then go back to making your style if you have a particular style and see, what did I learn from that experience of changing things up? And what can I kind of take back with me as I go back into my style? It's something I do all the time. I think, some people have commented on it, like, I really enjoy it when you kind of bring your junk journaling into your card making. And I just did a free class about a card that's kind of like, it's a 5x7 card, but it has that junk journal mini album feel to it, like big time. And there's a class on my channel for that. And there's a free printable on my website, bittypenny.com. And so I just wanted to kind of give you guys a little break from the norm, maybe open up some new ideas about your inspiration. Play some of your favorite music. Listen to the lyrics if there's lyrics in your music. And maybe create a card based on those lyrics. That's something I love to do. I think there's inspiration everywhere if we just think about bringing it into the craft room. So I hope that this video inspires you to be inspired. I would love to hear in the comments down below, what are some things that you pull inspiration from? I pull it from my family. They expose me to a lot. I've got a 12-and-a-half-year-old. I have an almost 10-year-old. My husband, they really expose me to a lot of different things. And so maybe I've taken that for granted, but I get a lot of inspiration from them. They're also all very artistic in their own way, in their own interest, which inspires me. I do believe that for me personally, even if I only do something 5 minutes a day, if you work that muscle every day, if you sit down and even if you're too tired to create, maybe you're not even at home, you can't create. But if you have a journal and you write about some ideas that you have, if you write about some things you want to try, maybe write down some ideas of things you want to look up when you get home. Like, oh, how do I do this? How do I jelly print? What is jelly printing? I'm going to just explore that when I get home. Or if you have an idea for a sketch of a card, or if you got a new stamp set and you had an idea of how you want to use it, I think even just entertaining the thoughts of being creative really helps keep that muscle flexed. So these are the things this is where my mind goes, right? And then sometimes I'll just pick up a piece of paper that is just so beautiful. You know, I love my Maggie Holmes paper, but I love printables. I love all kinds of paper, um, obviously, like patterned paper. And sometimes it just literally like sings to me. It's just waiting to be used. On that tip, I am not immune to the feeling of wanting to hoard my favorite papers. But in the last year, I have been really trying to break that habit. So I'm really trying to just use it. Like, if I think it is so beautiful and gorgeous and amazing, then I want to make a card with that to give to someone else so they can have that experience. And then what I do is I keep a little sliver. Maybe it's a 1 inch by 3 inch, a 2 by 3, a 3 by 4. I just keep a piece for me and I put it in a journal. I have a journal where I keep some of my favorite papers, and that's the journal's purpose. I can write down the collection it's from. You could journal about what you used it for. Like, this was my favorite paper and I made my best friend a card. Woohoo! You know? But I just have like a little junk journal that I made, and I keep swatches of my favorite papers in there. And it was so cool because I saw Debbie from Debbie Alley Project 39, and she does a similar thing, but she does it in her own way, and it's so cool. She's doing it as she does her crafty collab. Well, we're doing the Crafty Goals collab this year. She's doing it as she busts paper pads. She's keeping little swatches so she can remember, like, I used up that paper pad. And it made me happy to see someone else does that. So it's a little way to keep some because you know it's beautiful and gorgeous, but also to use it. Wow. What the most random voiceover. Am I right? No, it's just all about inspiration, you guys. So, you know, we will get back to some card making and journal making in the future. I don't have any more of these types of videos planned, but I wanted to break out of the box of even my own video making and make something new and fresh for you guys. So I hope you enjoyed this little chit chat, this little time. I wish it could have been a conversation that went both ways. I would have loved to hear your thoughts throughout, but you can leave them down in the comments below. If you like this kind of content, if you enjoyed the video today, hit the like button. Let me know. And, you know, every once in a while I could do this. Also, I have never done a Q&A. Should we do a Q&A? If we should do a Q&A, if you have questions for me, let me know. I have never done it, and I think I've had my channel for almost 3 years, and I haven't done that yet. So we could do that too. I loved this church scene, you guys. This little church reminded me of the one that I went to when I was a little girl. I went to it was called Stony Methodist. It was out in the middle of nowhere, and it was tiny but gorgeous. It had stained glass. It was just like this, white siding, and just a really simple church, but filled with beautiful people. About 50 beautiful people is about how big the congregation was, and they still are imprinted on my heart. So I know that God was there, and I just have really fond memories of that church and the people in it. So I had to paint this. And when this little church that I'm painting right now is in Georgetown, Texas, and this is like in the downtown area, and I can just imagine how much space used to be around it. But it's by the old downtown. It's super cute. If you're ever passing through, Georgetown is a fun, artsy little town to stop off at. It's a university town, and we love it. We had so much fun at this arts festival. The bracelet I'm wearing in this video I'd gotten that day. I'd always wanted one of these wrap bracelets. They've been around for years. Never got one until this day. But yeah, it just, having that stained glass and that little bit of crochet, my mom crochets, and so she's crocheted my whole life. So it just all really touched my heartstrings, and I was happy to sit down and paint this. I did frame a couple of these, and they looked beautiful in frames. So don't underestimate your art. Yes, this is like childlike art. It's folk art, and that's what I love. Um, I'm not trying to create a masterpiece. I'm just having fun. It turns out it looks pretty good in a frame too. Dr. Shrub liked it. Oh, he's so sweet. So, he and I just celebrated our wedding anniversary, you guys. So the videos will be a little lighter this week because I took 3 days off and just enjoyed my family and my hubby, and didn't craft, didn't create, didn't record, but just lived. So I'm gonna do that from time to time. It definitely recharges me. All right, you guys, so let me know about the Q&A if you're interested. Let me know if this is kind of video that inspires you, if you enjoyed this. I would love to know in the comments down below. And let me know what inspires you. Besides YouTube, we all get inspired on YouTube. YouTube is a huge gift in our lives. I'm so grateful that I live in a time to have YouTube. I was telling Dr. Shrub this when we were on a date the other day, that I can't imagine my crafty life without YouTube, without the community. Like, it would be so boring if I was just a crafter all alone in my craft room, and I'm not. I've got you guys, so thank you. Have a beautiful day. Bye.